Okay, full transparency, I have filmed this video 3 times, but I promised myself that I'm not going to allow perfectionism to stop me on this YouTube journey like it did the last time, so we're just gonna keep going. All right, so in today's video, I want to talk about quiet luxury. So when you think of quiet luxury, what usually comes to mind? Maybe it's Hermes for handbags, or it's Rolex for wristwatches, or it might even be Montblanc for pens. Or you might even be thinking about your favorite influencer who vacations in Tulum or who drives a G-Wagon. And that's how I used to think until I realized that those things weren't actually luxury, in my humble opinion. I believe that chasing that lifestyle of quiet luxury and those possessions actually was what was keeping me broke. And that might actually be the same for you. So I feel like the truth that they don't want you to know is that true quiet luxury is financial freedom. And what financial freedom can actually get you is choices. So I want to talk about some choices that, in my opinion, scream quiet luxury, and it may not be what you think. So let's start with number one, when you can buy something, but you choose not to. To me, this is the greatest flex because I remember going to the mall years ago and I would walk into all these stores that I had no business being in because I couldn't afford anything in there. I mean, at least not with cash. And I would just be looking at all the beautiful things on the wall and I would think to myself, wow, somebody can walk in this store and just grab anything off the shelf and just pay for it without even blinking an eye. How lucky that person must be. And now I am that person. I mean, depending on what store we're talking about, but I can generally walk into many stores and be able to purchase any item in cash and not have to worry about it. But I don't. And actually, now that I'm on this side of the equation, I realize the people that are good with money, that have money, they have it because they don't spend it on frivolous things. They don't just go and, are shopaholics and go buy this and buy that things that they don't need. They usually are more conscious or conscientious about their purchasing decisions. And usually what they buy, it usually needs to have some sort of ROI. It usually needs to be able to save them money or make them some money. So it's a different mindset when it comes to, most people, they love to spend money. But when you get good with money, you actually will love to save money. And saving money will be a lot more fun than going out and spending money. So I feel like a huge choice that true quiet luxury allows is when you can afford to buy something, but you choose not to buy it in order to save that money, whether it's to invest it or to, put it towards a savings goal, and that money can then work for you. So the second choice that I think screams quiet luxury is the choice to not owe anyone anything. And the Bible talks about debt being slavery. And if any of you are in debt, then you know that that's 100% correct. Like when I was working my way out of $70,000 worth of just consumer debt, I was just so stressed. It felt like an elephant was on my chest. Like I couldn't breathe. Like having that much debt, having that much, responsibility. And it doesn't matter if you lost your job. It doesn't matter if you're sick, on FMLA or, sick leave or whatever, and you're not getting the typical pay that you usually get. It doesn't matter. Those bills are coming every single month. It does not matter. And those people want their money. And so that weight of responsibility, like that's no way to live. You can never have peace. And I just realized that I did not want to have anyone tapping me on the shoulder with their hand out trying to get their money, because it's owed to them. I borrowed the money and I owe it back. So that's why this channel is called The Choice Life, because a long time ago, I realized that when you live in debt, you are willingly giving away your choice to live the life that you want to live. So when you are in debt to someone, they have power over you. They tell you that you got to go to work because you got to pay those bills. You can't live the life that you desire to live. So when I decide to put a vacation on a credit card that I know I can't afford, I'm making the choice to go on that vacation rather than retire early or invest to retire early. or if I choose to buy a brand new car on a, really big monthly payment that I can't afford, I'm basically choosing that new car over being able to stay home with my kids. So every decision, you have a choice, and it's either getting you closer to your goal or further away from your goal. And especially when you're living in debt, you are giving away your power, your freedom of choice to live the life that you desire, that makes you happy, because now you're enslaved to all of these people that want their money. So I truly believe a choice that screams quiet luxury is not owing anyone anything. And I'm saying this as someone that still has debt. Like, my husband and I do still have a mortgage on our home, and it bothers me to no end. Like, I know it's a house, I know that a mortgage is good debt, but I hate all debt. I don't want to owe anybody anything. So our goal is to get out of this mortgage as soon as we can, and that is our plan. But I just think about, what we could be doing with that money that we're giving to our mortgage company. And it's a relatively low mortgage. Like, it's really not a high mortgage relative to our income, but still, that's money that we have to send to somebody else rather than investing it so we can retire even earlier, or put it to our baby's, college fund, or put it to a new car fund, or put it to a savings where we could then purchase another property. And so it's just so frustrating for me. I don't really like debt at all. Even if it's considered good debt, I want to be out of it. The third choice that I feel screams quiet luxury is the choice to not be dependent on any job. Now, have you guys heard of these news stories of these factories closing down and laying off all of their workers just randomly one day? And if I can find the news stories, I'll put it up on the screen.
This afternoon, the second shift of workers got the news.
I have a daughter in school. I have a house. Come on. Y'all can't do people like that. Y'all a big company. At least give us a heads up.
Everybody doesn't know how they're going to take care of their kids. They don't know how they're going to put the kids through school and stuff like that. So it's a shock to everybody. Right now, I'm still in shock.
Juan Gonzalez was on first shift and had worked here for most of his life.
45 years in 2 minutes. They finished 45 years of my life.
There was no warning. And a lot of times with these companies, they know they're about to close down these factories. They know that they, are going to lay all these people off, but they don't give them any warning. They don't allow them to prepare for, being unemployed. So these people are just coming into work, and then boom, they are out of a job. And, not even just a layoff can happen, but a friend of mine, her job recently got bought out by another company. And so they, had a staff meeting where they announced the buyout and that they were going to be merging with this other company. And so a lot of her coworkers are just worried, like, okay, well, what's going to happen to my, retirement? What's going to happen to our benefits? What's going to happen to our pay? Will we keep our jobs? And there's just so much concern around this. But my friend, who has been living well below her means for a long time, she has her emergency fund, and she's set up really nicely where, even though it is kind of worrisome, like what's going to happen with her job, she's okay. Oh no. Oh. Uh-oh. Give me 1 second. Okay, sorry, we're back. My baby had an accident real quick, so I had to help her. But we're all good. So where were we? Okay, so if you bought into this quiet luxury lifestyle and you spent all of your money and did not prepare by saving up an emergency fund, what would you do if you lost your job suddenly? Because, like, if you have a Chanel bag, that Chanel bag is not going to pay the rent. I mean, unless you sell it, which probably would be a good idea if you lost your job and didn't have an emergency fund. But anyways, like, imagine this, like, you are at work and your manager comes in, calls all your coworkers together and announces that they are closing down your job, your department. Everybody's losing their job today. Just imagine that. Just picture that for a moment. And, some of your coworkers are shocked. Some are crying. Some, they're about to call security on. It's an issue. And then you look over, and then there's that one coworker that is just sitting there calmly, maybe even has a smile on their face. And you're like, what, how, why are they just calm and smiling? And you remember that that's that coworker that drives that beat up 15-year-old Honda Civic. And you guys always made fun of them because you drive the new model car. Or that's that coworker that always brought their lunch to work. Like they always had the turkey sandwich and some cookies. And you guys made fun of them because you used to always go to Uber Eats or, go to the nearest restaurant. Or that's that coworker that never went to the bar with you guys after work and always went home because they said it's too expensive. So you notice that coworker just sitting there calmly, maybe even smiling, whereas everybody else is, crying or upset or about to get dragged out by security. What's the difference? It's freedom. It's that coworker has prepared for a time of war in a time of peace. They knew that life happens. They knew that nothing is promised. So they need to prepare now, in the past for what is coming up right now. And so, I think that having financial freedom, it just gives you that option to be able to maybe take a sabbatical after getting laid off. Maybe you don't have to immediately jump back into the job market because you have some money set aside. You've prepared for this time. So you can go and travel to see your family for an extended period, or you can go to, a different country that you've always wanted to visit. And now you have the time to do it because you don't have a job. Whereas you may have, had to request PTO and all of that, but now you're unemployed. So you have the freedom to go travel for a certain amount of time. Or when you do get into the job market, you can be more picky about what job you take because you're not desperate. You're not coming at it from, I just need whatever anybody can give me. So you take a lower pay, or you take, a job that you're going to hate, but you need it. So having that, financial freedom, having that preparedness, it gives you choices. It gives you the choice of taking some extra time before you go back to work, or it gives you the choice of where and with whom you work. So the fourth choice that I believe screams quiet luxury is to be able to rest. Now, I know that sounds a little odd, but rest is a luxury because, we're talking about not being dependent on a job is a great choice that screams quiet luxury. But I think also not having to work two jobs, it screams quiet luxury. Not having to work overtime just to pay your bills screams quiet luxury because when you have to work 2 and 3 jobs just to meet the minimum requirements of all of your expenses, that is stressful. So to know that you can survive off of just 40 hours a week comfortably, that's an amazing feeling. And so then any extra side hustle you take on or any overtime that you do, that's just extra money in your pocket. You're not even depending on it. And I feel like, especially for women, being able to rest is so necessary because our bodies just aren't meant to be under so much stress. And I believe that that's why we're seeing so many health issues with women, like infertility issues or, thyroid issues, weight issues. It's all because it's excess cortisol that we have in our blood from stress. We're just not built for that. And I feel like so many Americans we're just living in survival mode. We're just living in a constant state of stress and we don't realize it because that's all we know. So when you see somebody that is actually resting, when you see somebody that is, not stressed, they look weird to you. They look like, well, what's going on with them? Like, what's different about them? And going along with rest being true quiet luxury, I believe the ultimate quiet luxury is number 5, owning your time. So owning your time means having complete control of your time and not have to depend on working physically or mentally in order to cover your basic living expenses. And that is a luxury that not a lot of people get to experience. Or if they do experience it, is later in life where they really can't enjoy it because of age. And so, I decided long ago that I don't want to have to wait till my 60s or 70s to be free. In my opinion, early retirement is the pinnacle of true quiet luxury. And so when I say early retirement, I am talking about the FIRE movement. So that stands for Financially Independent Retire Early. And basically, it's a movement where people save and invest upwards to 50% of their income in order to be able to retire well before the age of 65. And when I think about the FIRE movement, like, I honestly regret not finding out about this way earlier in life. Like, I was 27 when I found out about the FIRE movement, which technically is very young, but I had a lot of debt that I had to get out of before I could even start investing and all of those things. But I guess what I mean is, I wish that I knew about investing earlier in life. I wish I started investing way earlier, like 18. I didn't even know the concept of investing. And I remember when I got my very first job, and you do orientation, and the benefits department comes and talks with you. You get your health insurance figured out, and then your retirement, the 401k people come and they do a presentation, and then you can decide how much you want to contribute to your 401k. Well, I did not know what this man was talking about when he was talking about, okay, well, you can put 6% of your paycheck into this investment account. All I heard was, that's money coming out of my paycheck that I need, that I want. Like, I honestly felt like he was trying to take something from me. I had no financial literacy. And when I think about that, I'm like, girl, if you would have just put 6% of your paycheck into a 401k when I think I was like 21 at that time, how much that would be worth today. But, ultimately, you can't change the past. And I'm just thankful that I know this now. I have this knowledge now. And that's why I want to pass this knowledge on to you guys, because I don't want you to have the same regrets that I do. And I would love to talk more about the FIRE movement on this channel, because that is something that my husband and I are currently walking through. So if that's something that interests you, then just let me know in the comments and I can talk more about it. But yeah, I can't change the past, but I can absolutely shape my future. And I hope that you decide to make better choices today that will give you a bigger, brighter future. And I know one thing, that you can't do that if you are still living paycheck to paycheck. So if that is true, then watch this video right here where I give you a step-by-step guide for how to break that cycle. And I'll see you in that video. Bye.